Vespers Host introduced some strange mysteries, a message sent from an unreachable destination, from someone or a group of people who were lost and in distress. Edge of Fate introduces the Nine once more in our next adventure. So do these stories have any connections? Welcome Guardians, today we discuss. Bungie likes to implement hints about where the story is heading in their releases. It's one of the things that make live service games exciting for those interested in the lore. Sometimes it's done on purpose, things like Savathun being teased for years before we eventually met her in Witch Queen. Other times it's more subtle. Today we are going to take a look back at Vespers Host, the dungeon from episode Revenant back in October. Beyond the story of heresy, this dungeon had tons of crazy story implications that seemed to hint at things to come. Now I want to preface this by saying these are just theories, and what we discuss may not even be the Edge of Fate at all. Maybe it's beyond that in Behemoth or even content releasing next year. But with all that being said, let's take a look. Clovis Bray built a Vex Mind on Vesper Station, a ship belonging to his company hovering above the surface of Europa. When the Morning Star, another ship seen in the Beyond Light raid, crashed into Vesper Station, the Vex Mind created by Clovis broke free. And not long after this, it transferred itself into an exo body, becoming the corrupted puppeteer. Elixni from the surface of Europa found Vesper Station and thought, hey, this might be a good place to call home. Europa is kinda crazy and harsh at some times with the weather. We can build a nice home up here in space. But turns out they were wrong. Members of House Salvation began to get picked off one by the corrupted puppeteer. It truly was a spaceship horror type situation like Alien Isolation for them. In lore cards, certain fallen members would wander off and never return. Each Elixni that was killed by the puppeteer was merged into the amalgamation of consciousness of this Vex Mind. The puppeteer then gave these Elixni a job: build an anomaly. A vast array.
Stay back! That exoframe is the center of the corruption. Corrupted signal fading. Anomaly shutdown complete. Corruption took control of everything. It forced the construction of the anomaly. It could have ruined so much more than it already did. And these facilities are wrecked. Population count is nil. I'm alone. Vesper Station was Dr. Bray's lab meant to house the experiments that might interact poorly with other Braytech work. Isolated and quarantined. From the debris field, I would guess the Morning Star taking a dive cracked that quarantine wide open.
Through dialogue, we learned that this anomaly allowed for communication with something across space or across a large distance, a mysterious plane or dimension. The AI Estrella speaks in some of this dialogue, and she explains that a human message of sorts came through. Human in the sense that we, the reader, which are humans of course, can obviously understand it.
Message in abeyance loop transferred to anomaly. Destination incomprehensible. This message was not authorized. The reply coming back through the anomaly let me scrape a facsimile of the original message. It was a locating ping. The content was irrelevant. The signal was the message, "Hello, world." And something overrode my lock on the anomaly. Allowed it to power up enough to receive the reply. Warning. Unauthorized message coming through the anomaly. Data follows. Lodi transmitting. Status moonsick. Adrift. Odysseus protocol active. It repeats from there. Do you recognize the code?
Something called Lodi sent this message, saying that it was adrift, very far from home. We also can't ignore the connection with the Vex mind here. That seems to have a big part to play in this overall story. Why did the mind know how to build the anomaly and contact this Lodi, or receive a message from them? Maybe Lodi itself was able to override the mind. Humans or someone who knows how to use Vex technology, or it's Vex itself. Frontier's concepts did show us humanoid figures which could be these very people. Ships that have crashed, maybe they are stuck. Previously, we speculated that, hey, maybe this was just another colony ship during the collapse, a Neomuna type situation. The Exodus Indigo crashed on Neptune and we had no clue. The Yang Li Wei, the awoken ship, was transported into a pocket dimension. So it's not crazy to think that there could have been some type of other ship and that happened to these people too. I don't think we have any lore cards pointing to a situation like this, so it seems like some type of anomaly. Spire of the Watcher lore told us that humans originally intended to explore other galaxies before learning about the Black Fleet's approach. The location of Lodi is said to be incomprehensible, a place that cannot be understood. This could mean a few things. Maybe it's not a physical space. Maybe it's not in our dimension at all, like the distributary. Incomprehensible to me seems even crazier than spaces like that or the Ascendant Realm though. Somewhere that can't be accessed or seems like it shouldn't be able to. The only connection I can kind of see to Edge of Fate so far would be what we see in the reveal image, which I believe is a black hole. If there's any connection, maybe this destination in Frontiers has been reached through the black hole. And if that's the case, is it in our timeline or a different time entirely? Neomuna News said this about the Pale Heart.
Scientists continue to study the alien structure the Witness created from the remains of the Traveler. The link established between the Veil and the Traveler's so-called Pale Heart created a portal through which the Pyramid Fleet leader escaped. Professor Alagi Ahmed commented, "It appears to be an Einstein-Rosen bridge, but with paracausality, little can be said for certain. Stay tuned to Neomuna Civil News for updates."
Is the Edge of Fate the same, transporting us to an ethereal place like we did in the final shape with the Pale Heart? It would be interesting to see. But then you have some strange connections, like we've been talking about this whole taken god that could be a member of the Nine. How does that connect at all to this Vex stuff going on with Vespers Host? Maybe it doesn't. The whole goal of the Nine is to break free from their current constraints. They've tried to do this in different ways, but whatever the new taken god in Heresy is, possibly a member of them, they seem to be close, on the edge of changing their own fate. The new logo of the expansion seems to show a taken version of the Nine logo, some people think. The new god is very weak at the current moment. So all of that's to say if there's any connection at all. Vespers does seem quite different with these spider webs, Vex-ish corruption, and weird eggs all over the place. So is this related to the Edge of Fate, otherwise known as Apollo, or is this further down the line? Anyway, Guardians, that's all we got for today's video. Some more speculation about the next expansion, the Edge of Fate, and trying to connect it with previous stories like Vespers. If you'd like to see some more Destiny news, lore, and mysteries just like this video, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.